I guarantee you, when this is solved, and it's going to be solved, this isn't going to be a stranger. This is going to be somebody you know, somebody you've crossed paths with somewhere, somehow, in my opinion. It's just a matter of you're going to find it out when they're caught, or you're going to find it out because you go back through and do an inventory and figure out everything you can possibly figure out and lead us to who they are.
You know, I never thought about that until just now. The day that we were over there helping Jody move her stuff out, her mom showed up. And she goes, it's pretty odd that truck ain't been found yet. Why would she say that?
Why wouldn't she say that?
Because she owns a red truck, baby. And at one time it did have a ladder rack on it. That's why I said that.
Well, maybe that's the truck they've seen.
Damn, killer. It's so good.
This is Summer Wells. The 5-year-old lived at this house in Rogersville, Tennessee, a tight-knit community of less than 5,000 people. On June 15, 2021, her parents say Summer was helping plant flowers with her mom and grandmother.
And she wanted to go into the house. My wife watched her go into the door, and she went into the house, and the boys were on the internet, of course. She wanted to go downstairs and play with her toys.
I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight.
2 years after her parents, Don and Candace Wells, gave those accounts, that's still all we know about the last time Summer was seen. Almost immediately, Summer's parents became the center of a police investigation.
Summer's parents, Candace and Don, had something to do with this, or have you ruled that out?
We haven't ruled anything out. Everything's possible.
Don Wells pleaded guilty to driving under the influence. Candace also filed an order of protection against him, but asked for it to be dismissed. He now faces criminal charges in 3 states, including a domestic assault arrest in 2020. 2 years later, investigators have not charged either Don or his wife in connection to Summer's disappearance.
Everybody makes mistakes, and we all have to learn and go on. We're doing better. It's still very rough for my wife.
Oh, I'm being interrogated again, and I don't want to do this anymore. Yes, I am.
We'll stop. I want you to feel comfortable.
Since Summer's disappearance, Don says their life has been consumed by harassment from people online who believe they're responsible for whatever happened to Summer.
Before you know it, you're getting a mob going. My wife could go to the store and somebody would scream at her, baby killer.
Candace.
He sent us videos from one of his job sites where some people were demanding to speak with him about the case.
We're gonna follow you. We're waiting here all day.
Don says it's gotten so bad he had to leave the state. As for Summer's case, Don says they have private investigators working with police. The Hawkins County Sheriff's Office is still working alongside the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Both agencies declined to give us an interview. Don says he hasn't learned anything new from police, but has always said he believes Summer was abducted. In the past, the sheriff said there's no evidence that happened.
Nothing pointing to abduction, nothing pointing to foul play, other than her walking outside the house and not being found.
There was also a key tip from a neighbor in 2021. A woman and her teen children told police they heard a scream about an hour before Summer went missing.
I wish every day that when I heard that scream, I hadn't tried to dismiss it.
But the sheriff said after multiple interviews, that tip led nowhere. One clue they're still looking for is a pickup truck seen in the area around the time Summer vanished. It's described as a red or maroon Toyota truck with ladders on the back.
TBI officials say in the process of speaking with neighbors about the night Summer disappeared.
In the process of speaking with neighbors about the night Summer disappeared.
Officials are looking for the driver of a Toyota pickup truck who was seen in the Beach Creek community either Monday or Tuesday of last week. The pickup is possibly a 1998 to 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack along the white with white buckets in the truck bed. They're looking to speak with the driver and want to stress that they are not a suspect, but can be a potential witness.
I keep being asked if I'm the one that reported the truck, the red truck, right? And I'm not. I didn't. I'm not the one that came from. If whispers and rumors are to be believed, I kind of know who did.
Did you ever see the red truck?
I seen a red truck, but I didn't see the red truck down there.
In the evening times, I would usually walk down to meet Voldemort after he'd gotten off work. So I was standing there at a certain time, usually every day, and there was a truck that kept coming in and out. This truck and the person in it kind of stuck with me. I did report that I was like, well, wait. I was like, there was this truck. It was coming in at the same time almost every day. The guy was being a little weird, but I thought it was traffic for something else, and it didn't really, I don't know, for some reason the guy stuck with me. I mean, we were just inches apart most days. He passed me as I was standing at the very tip of the driveway, but for some reason his face stuck with me. And that's something strange these days. So I did report it. After I'd reported the truck, and it did have ladder racks on it, but no ladders. The ladder racks were black, as I recall. But I did notice that after everything had happened and Summer had vanished, I didn't see this truck any longer. I've not seen the guy since.
Jody described this red Toyota pickup truck. I'm sure you've heard about it. And she kept talking about this man that she saw driving it. She described him pretty detailed. I offered at that time to do a sketch for free. I always do all my forensic work. Jody described this red Toyota pickup truck. I'm sure you've heard about it. And she kept talking about this man that she saw driving it. She described him pretty detailed. I offered at that time to do a sketch for free. I always do all my forensic work. To me, like I'm some kind of suspicious character. Yeah, I do this. I work with families, I work with law enforcement, I work with the U.S. Marshals. So finally I told her, look, contact just Detective Pruitt, give him my phone number. I will drive there to Tennessee, West Virginia, do this for you free of charge. She never answered me. My question to you is, did she ever talk to you about a suspect in a red Toyota pickup truck, or describe it, or say he was suspicious, or is this just another one of those figments of the imagination?
I don't remember her telling me about a red Toyota truck.
At one point, Voldemort had told me to pass along information of where he thought that truck stayed, things like that. And I honestly can't say that he was right, but we passed that on as well. Still never heard anything. You know, and I really don't know that Voldemort was right on that part, honestly.
I found a red Toyota truck with ladder racks on it, but
I gotcha.
I do know that I was seeing a red truck. It wasn't bright red. He was coming and going from Ben Hill at a certain time of day. You know, I still don't know who he is. I know that it seemed like that ladder rack was coming and going off of the truck. I mean, I can still see the guy's face, and I can still picture the truck and how high it was, and him looking at me and just, you know, I don't know, but long story short, I was not the one that reported the truck, and you know, so either way, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't me who reported the red truck, so there you go.
Well, she had just, like last fall, she really described, she said she saw the guy's tattoos, she saw his hair color, his darker complexion, she saw him driving it, she saw him step. Or is this something she's thinking of? But she didn't talk to you in detail about that then?
no. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking that the Toyota truck came out after the fact, a couple days in, and somebody had seen it or something like that.
Right. But Jody never spoke to you about seeing this man or driving the truck.
That truck?
That you can remember. And I understand about those memories, and part of that might not be your ADD or ADHD, because I have those.
Well, it's probably why I blocked shit out that I don't want to remember.
And like Andy, he was in here that day.
I want to talk to him. Can you?
And he swears that down he's at work. He ain't. Because he was in here at 3 o'clock.
So
because I had to pull over and let him by. And that red Toyota truck, that's Jody's mom's.
You guys
thank you. See, I know. See, that's why they don't like me.
The Wells family lives across the street from a neighboring property. The night Summer went missing, the neighbor swears that she and her 2 children heard a scream. She and her family next heard a truck door slamming.
It's really strange that I've never seen this truck, and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves. And if you're not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen.
TBI has been looking for a maroon or red Toyota Tacoma truck. They say the person driving it may have been a witness in Summer's disappearance.
You keep complicating this shit by saying that it's a witness. I've never seen a damn witness run away from the police. Unless they got some shit to hide.
What about the truck with the ladder racks? I gave pictures of it to the FBI or TBI or Hawkins County 1. A couple people, including Lupus, had a picture of it with the tag number. So.
We do know that last year you guys pushed out some information about the red truck. I know that this is on here, but just so we can talk about it with you guys. Is that still something you're looking for? Do you still want people to submit tips, or is that over and just not looking for that stuff anymore?
I'm going to call on TBI Special Agent in charge, Derek Newport, just to talk about that and where that stands.
I will tell you yes, just to eliminate. We still don't have a good timeline of when that was observed. People in frequent areas on a regular basis can get days mixed up. We still want to figure out who, if possible, and if that's even a legitimate lead.
We still don't have a good timeline of when that was observed. People in frequent areas on a regular basis can get days mixed up.
I wasn't on the road on the 15th. I was on the road on the 14th and the 16th.
So you're saying the date is wrong on the SD cards?
On the so now you're saying that the date's wrong on it. Is that what you're saying? The date is wrong on the SD cards, or you're saying the date was wrong on the recording?
He's always one of these phones, devices, cards, laptops, cameras, pictures, all the things for all the decades of proof he knows to have of his abuse, not to count. In order to do that, he either had to steal them, which he did try to do.
He's always one of these phones, devices, cards, laptops, cameras, pictures, all the things for all the decades of proof he knows to have of his abuse, not to count. In order to do that, he either had to steal them, which he did try to do.
And then, of course, somebody said they spotted a truck parked here somewhere. We don't know. I didn't see it. That's just what somebody said. But
How exactly did the red truck come into the picture? For
when I was leaving for work that morning, there was a guy at the bottom of my driveway wanting me to pull start his four-wheeler. And then the police showed up, and he asked if I could go ahead and pull it over to his truck. So, and the policeman said, "Yeah, Mr. Wells just pulled over there, you know." And so I did. And when we got there, I seen the truck on the bank of the ditch there, high centered, and I asked the officers if I could take some pictures. He said, "No problem, Mr. Wells, go ahead." And he started asking him for paperwork. And when I went to the side of the truck to take a picture, there was some woman stuck her head out. There was a woman in that truck, and she looked like she ain't combed her hair for like 2 months. I don't know, but she just laid back down in there and covered up. But that kind of stuff is constant in our area, and you know, all kind of stuff going on. You know, I think meth is becoming what it always has been, but it's getting worse. I guess it's a serious problem. I guess it is everywhere, but yeah.
And that was the morning?
Well, sir, I didn't.
Sorry, that was that morning you left for work that happened with the four-wheeler and that?
Yes.
So the police were there June 15th, early in the morning then?
Yeah, they just showed up because somebody else had called the law.
No, they wasn't no vehicles stuck that I know of. The red truck off in the ditch, that was somewhere else. That was up through the gap in the mountain.
There was an opening she could kind of at least across to almost Bell. Like there's that opening, that property. It was almost to Bell. You just have to cross a little section of forest. And then you're on Bell Road.
See, what you do is you actually jump two roads when you come the back way through. It's right there. You jump from Ben Hill, you jump either across Bell or Field.
Yeah.
And then you come back into the woods behind, and then you go on down to here.
Right. But getting to Bell or Fields is a mile, maybe? If that. It's not even, it's just
closer. Half a mile, 3/4 of a mile off if you go through the woods from Ben Hill to Field.
That's what I thought.
That's the way I used to go when I'd go to my cousin's house. If I was walking, I would go up behind Gorley's house, split the gap, and come out. Actually, I'll show you where I come.
But the only reason she would do that is because, like we were talking about earlier, she wouldn't have gone off on her own for no reason. But if she's running from someone, then maybe she was terrified, right? She could have taken off and ended up in the middle of there.
Where did they say? I've heard 2 stories on the footprints. Somebody said they was up towards Fred's. Somebody said they was down this way.
One up toward Fred. One on the property that I'm talking about that goes to that big clearing. We can go on Ben Hill if you want to, and I can show you where they are.
Okay,
and then Bell Road, there's a property on the top of a hill on Bell Road, and that's where another footprint was, around there.
That's my cousin.
Your cousin? Do you know him? Like, would he freak out if you showed up?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't get along? Okay. You know, have you done Bell all the way to where there's like a turnoff point. Launch your drone up there. You could go above Gorley's. That would be a nice view of all the area that she could have possibly.
Yeah, that'd been. Because all that shit where they're saying the feet prints are behind Gorley's. That connects right on the back side of Bell Road.
Okay. That's the
Like you walk through
that's a
behind-
concentration of her prints.
Have you seen Gorley's house? How it sets his property? Okay, so if you're at the gate when you go in the holler, just look at the gate. You'll see a house way back there. If you go straight back that holler behind that house, it brings you through the woods to the back side of Bell Road down there.
I thought they blocked it off. I tried to get
You can't drive through there.
Oh yeah, I tried
You
to
gotta
get through there
walk.
one time.
I had a dream. There was thousands, 100,000, a million of us standing at that gate. I don't know why, but we're just standing at the gate, strong, all lined up, staring at that gate.
Andy, why was you here on the 15th? You hadn't been here in years.
From the other side of that gate.
At that point in time, you all was thinking that she was lost. Everybody.
I really honestly didn't know, because years and years that I've lived down there, and years that I've run those roads and that holler and back through them cuts to my cousin's houses and everything like that.
I've run those roads and that holler and back through them cuts to my cousin's houses and everything like that.
Ain't nobody ever messed with us. And it's been girls, boys, 5 to, well, now. So.
A search group put on by the Wells family private investigators had eyes on the ground and in the air today in the Beach Creek community almost a year later searching for Summer Wells. And today we hear from them for the first time. Almost a year after Summer Wells was reported missing, people continue to search the area for any signs of the little girl.
We had permission to search about 200 acres, area that had not, according to the property owner, had not been searched well in the past or at all.
Saturday, 8 people, including a drone operator and the Wells private investigator, searched a property on the backside of Ben Hill Road.
There were rumors of footprints and things that were found in the woods when Summer went missing. And, you know, if you sort of look at that evidence and you look at the surrounding properties and the direction those footprints were headed, it sort of gives you an idea of where to go look.
There were rumors of footprints and things that were found in the woods when Summer went missing. And, you know, if you sort of look at that evidence and you look at the surrounding properties and the direction those footprints were headed, sort of gives you an idea of where to go look.
Chris Storms with First to Deploy has been assisting CNC investigations in their searches.
We also use a Mavic 2 Pro that allows us to shoot in 20 megapixel, and we use that to run through a program called Locate. Locate can detect a color of a shirt from 200 feet in the air, even if it's the size of a quarter.
The drones are not only used to map out the search area, but one even has an infrared camera that can detect non-recorded burials up to 4 years old.
When you put someone in the ground, basically as they decompose, and it kind of kills everything around it, but as everything grows back over time, it flourishes. It kind of creates a super fertile soil, and what you can detect on your infrared is the different color of the ground that you couldn't normally see with the naked eye.
Saturday's search also included a neighbor who says the environment is similar to how it was when Summer disappeared, but he still doesn't think she could be found in the area.
It's a lot of ground to cover. It's very thick. I guess anything is possible. Once you've seen 2 solid weeks of so many people covering such an area so thoroughly, it doesn't seem likely, but anything's possible.
As someone like Jody Sue, when you see this pop up on the news and you know exactly where that's at, probably your go-to response is, oh shit.
You're a pussy. Your elders would be fucking ashamed. And they wouldn't be flip-flopping. Sunflowers. In public. Not from any hollow. Stay in the darkness, where it belonged, when it was time. Chicken shit. You know, the thing is, you showed fear. Already. You showed fear already. And I can smell it. I watched it. I watched you think about having a set of balls for about 10 seconds, and then your fear take over. You reek of it. You reek of it. Or maybe you reek of regret. Maybe both. All I'm going to tell you tonight is this. I don't know why I'd have to ask Dave Radar anything. And I won't ask the other. Not for anyone. What have you done? What in the fuck have you done? And what in the fuck are you trying to do? Blood, kin, dirty chicken shit water. Others indeed. You'd be a fucking anomaly even to them. It's not how they operate. It's not how they operated. Just leave your mommy and your daddy out of it. You can. At least the old timers. Because they'd be fucking embarrassed. What have you done? And what are you implying? You didn't quite finish. Didn't get right. Or were trying to finish. But no, dear. I won't be asking Radar or the others or Candace anything. And you don't scare me. Your elders didn't scare me either. I give zero fucks. And I won't be asking anybody anything. Not Dave Radar, not Candace, and not the rest.
You know, then there was the thought that on that Saturday night that I got into town, which would have been 4 days after she went missing, is that somebody said that they found a footprint. Now, I don't know the truth about that, but they had TBI, FBI, they had some of the locals there late at night. I got into town about 11 o'clock, and they were still searching until about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, from what I understand, because they went under the assumption is that, oh hell, maybe if she was abducted, they're seeing all of this go down. They dropped her back off near the woods, and that she was now walking the woods by herself. So then they set up this good perimeter around there and just kind of worked our way more towards the house to create that funnel effect.
The search for now 6-year-old Summer Wells. Crews are back in Hawkins County, going back to the areas of interest on a small scale search. That's what we're told this is being called. Why they are searching in the area. They're searching again. This is not the first time. It's not even the second or third time they've revisited this area.
All of a sudden, about 3/4 of a mile to a mile away, you've got this previous area of interest, which a lotto odd, right? This is a lotto odd, that the child is going to go missing from Ben Hill, walk westwardly, and have some sort of significance to yet another property that's accessible by the neighbors on Ben Hill at 125.
Some selling their whole ass land anyways, because they're like, fuck this, what if something's been placed?
What were the, what line of questioning was TBI and the law asking? What were they asking?
I honestly don't remember, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Do you not think if the law had anything else asked me that they had done come and asked me, or if I was on the road, even lying, that they would have come and said, well, sir, I've not talked to them since I left that property. Nobody's came at me to question me, nothing. And I've not been hiding. Every year since I've left, I've had to go to court at least one time a year. Hawkins County, Sullivan County.
The reason why I sent that in is because, because Andy Bernard was on that road that day and nobody's questioning him. And he says he was at work all day.
Both us, TBI, and FBI have questioned him several times concerning that. Yes, he was on the road probably prior to, but most important is this dark blue pickup truck with tinted windows that you felt was very important in this tip.
Yeah.
Why do you feel it's important?
Because, well, we feel like Andy was meeting him.
Well, like I said, our agency, TBI, and the FBI have interviewed Mr. Bernard. I'm not arguing with you. If you don't have anything further, we appreciate your information and have a good day. Bye-bye.
What the fuck?
What?
Just happened.
Have you been interviewed by the police, TBI, or FBI?
Yes, all three.
How many times do you think total?
A few, I don't know, more than once.
By each agency or at the same time?
TBI showed up at my work and questioned me. I talked to TBI, FBI, and Hawkins County at my house 2 or 3 times over, 2 or 3 days after, Summer went missing.
Ronnie Lawson.
Ronnie Lawson, yeah, of course. Everybody wants to know if I own Ronnie Lawson. No, I don't. Hey, look, I wouldn't be on here trying to make money and trying to beg for money and working my ass off if I had the police on payroll. Well,
yeah.
I mean, legitimate shit. I mean, I don't know no broke-ass motherfuckers that have police on payroll.
Right.
That's all I've really ever sold was weed, because it's kind of like a victimless crime. I mean, everybody pretty much smokes weed. Even the police smoke weed.
That's all I've really ever sold was weed. Even the police smoke weed.
I never sold no pills to them.
Where would Jody Sue get her pills that she was selling to over there?
That's, Ziggy, that is not in my spot to answer. That is something that will get me in trouble.
Okay. Well,
that's not something I can say.
That is something that will get me in trouble.
Let me tell you this. The level of criminal sophistication in Hawkins County, right there on the hill, is not complex in any sort of fashion. Every single thing those two have ever done, they've been jammed up for it. So now you think they graduated to murder of their own child and the disposal of the corpse, and be able to trick dogs and be able to trick scanners and be able to trick helicopters and fucking searchers and agents from 80 wherever jurisdictions? Fuck you, me.
Had something to do with Summer going missing, like something like that. I can't say the exact words, but when she looked me in the eyes,
who's he, Daisy?
Some guy that was down at Fred Hills had something to do with Summer going missing.
On the afternoon of June 15, 2021, at approximately 3:09 p.m, video of Summer Wells leaning on a couple of jugs of milk was taken roughly 8 minutes from home. This would be the last confirmed visual of her. There have been many accounts of what happened in the next 3 hours, but this is what we know almost for sure. By 3:30 to 3:45, Candace, who is Summer's mother, Grandis, who is Candace's mother, and Summer are believed to have returned to the Wells property. Around this same time, Fred Hill, a neighbour living farther down Ben Hill Road, claims to have left the holler. His friend, Chad Arnold, was at his residence during this time. Chad reportedly saw Candace walking down Fred's driveway searching for Summer at approximately 4:30 p.m. Around the same time, between 4:30 and 4:42 p.m, neighbour Jody Sue Brown reports hearing a scream that became muffled, something her children also allegedly heard. Jody Sue lived across the street from the Wells on Ben Hill Road. Candace, when questioned, claimed she did not hear any scream because she was inside the house looking for Summer, with the TV turned up loud. In this same window of time, Candace is also reported to have told a woman named Marlena Crawford that Summer had been missing for about 20 minutes. Over an hour later, 6:09 p.m, Jody heads down her driveway and hears Candace and the boys calling out for Summer. At approximately 6:26 p.m, the 911 call is logged. Don, who claimed to be at work 40 minutes away in Jonesboro, begins heading home. He and Andy, according to their accounts, reportedly arrive at the Wells residence just before 7 p.m, around the time first responders begin to arrive. Despite the volume of information surrounding that 3-hour window between 3:30 and 6:30 p.m, the exact circumstances of Summer's disappearance remain unresolved. Zooming in on this small window on June 15, 2021 is crucial because it cuts through the chaos of the holler, a place where daily life is filled with noise, overlapping stories, and a revolving door of people. That 3-hour span holds the only verifiable sequence of movements, sounds, and witness claims directly tied to the moment Summer Wells vanished. In this small window of time that day, according to each account, Fred left the holler, Andy and Don were at work, Jody was at home with her kids, Grandus was napping, Summer's brothers were in the house watching TV, and the most direct reported sighting place is Candace at Fred Hill's driveway searching for Summer, and she sees a man. Chad Arnold. This man is rumoured to have seen Candace coming down Fred's driveway searching for Summer, but Chad has never confirmed this himself. You see, in the shadows of Beach Creek, few figures are whispered about quite like Chad Arnold. A close friend of Fred Hill, Chad's connection to the holler runs deep and dark. His own brother, Jason Arnold, Fred's best friend, died under mysterious circumstances. A year after his body was found, his skull surfaced in his own yard, unsettling even the most hardened locals.
Jason Arnold is Chad Arnold's brother. Chad Arnold is the man that was seen on Ben Hill Road that day. Jason Arnold held them and shot up their house and held them at gunpoint, trying to collect money that Alan Ajon owed him. So the kidnapping case, actually the person who was charged with it was Jason Arnold. So that's real interesting, though, that you say that. You have George Simpson and Ajon connection there.
Uncle Ajon had his own excavating business and had a few hands working for him who were complaining of not being paid for 3 days' work. Uncle Ajon was confronted by his employees about not getting paid. Uncle Ajon gave him an $8 drug and said this should cover it. Weeks later, he went to collect the money for the drug debt, and the following happened. Now, they also wore bullet-resistant vests, and they carried two-way radios and a pair of binoculars. Found themselves unwittingly entangled in Uncle Ajon's criminal enterprise. These were the employees who complained Uncle Ajon never paid them, and Uncle Ajon paid them in drugs. After a night of drinking at the Hog Wild Saloon, they returned to White's motel room. Only to encounter Uncle Ajon, George Simpson, and John Bowers,
dressed in black and orange. Uncle Adrian demanded payment for a drug debt, setting up a terrifying ordeal for the victims. Under Uncle Adrian's orders, Simpson pulled a handgun, effectively trapping McDavid. Uncle Adrian, growing increasingly agitated, directed George Simpson and John Bowers to end them, brandishing a firearm and issuing killing threats. When their attempts to extort money failed, Uncle Adrian and his associates fled Virginia with the victims in tow. In Virginia, the victims managed to escape their kidnappers during a moment of chaos. Fleeing for their lives, they sought refuge at the home of local, who, sensing their distress, promptly called the police. The subsequent investigation uncovered a cache of weapons, incriminating evidence at George Simpson's residence, further solidifying the case against Uncle Adrian and his boys. Uncle Adrian's fate seemed sealed. His convictions on multiple counts, including drug distribution and kidnapping, carried hefty sentences, assuring that justice would be served for his victims and the community at large. George Simpson would go on to escape custody from the Sullivan County Jail and fled to Virginia. He was later found by the U.S. Marshals hiding in a hayloft of a barn. Three victims would later conveniently testify that nothing happened. They didn't know anything about a kidnapping and was just all a big misunderstanding. Taking the heat off of Uncle Adrian, Simpson, and Bowers, they would all go on to be released from jail. Now, how likely is it that Dudley only knew one person on Ben Hill? What about what happened with him and Don? When Dudley was fired and claimed Don did not pay him for 3 days of work, did Dudley tell his uncle, who was used to dealing with this sort of situation?
It's very interesting that the Dudley Adrian thing comes back around again. You know, it's like you think he's just the co-worker that Don fired, and then all of a sudden you realize he was completely pulled into this with all these other people now that are with the Chad Arnold side of things.
Now, Dudley, I think, was in a different group of people. Where was he arrested? He was arrested in Kingsport. Well, yeah, Ricky was arrested in Kingsport too.
Dudley, how you know Ricky Jr. and that squad? That man that was found the day afterwards? I want to call him a Cajun name because I know a Ricky Jr. But I have to help me.
Ricky Robin. Ricky Robin.
Marlena and Ricky.
Oh, Marlena.
Ricky Crawford Jr. The rent house.
Yeah.
The couple. What I'm thinking Green Eyes calls the trap house, which is not Ben Hill. Dudley, you go to that house? You know Ricky and them? You and Don know Ricky and them? Like,
I don't know anything about him.
I know Rick Crawford.
Well, I didn't hang out with Don either.
I know Ricky Crawford.
Ricky Crawford. You don't know nothing about him. The holler, which all got picked up recently at the same time.
Yes,
maybe not for the same reason or whatever.
Meth charges.
Isolated to get you, Dudley, and Ricky, and everybody else he brought in.
Rick Crawford died.
No, Junior.
Junior. Ricky Crawford's in jail.
Now he got arrested the same day as Dudley.
Right. Well, except for he had a bunch of guns. They got busted with a bunch of guns. I assume stolen.
Drugs and ATL.
Right.
Are we talking about your mother-in-law's boyfriend? Or
me?
I'm confused. Who's Ricky? Yeah, who's Ricky?
Ricky Crawford.
Who's that?
He lived down on Beach Creek.
Oh, okay. Was that the person that was up on the hill that supposedly heard something?
Dudley's dad lived right next to Alan.
Yeah,
right?
They lived next door to each other. Yep. They
in
lived
Churchill.
Right.
So this is really good
on
information
Goshen Valley.
that you come out with.
Mm-hmm.
I got cleared by TBI, FBI, Hawkins County. They had me on camera. They had my whereabouts on everywhere I went. When I got a phone call at 1:30 in the morning from my dad, and he's asking me, am I in some kind of trouble? And what are you talking about? He said, the state police are at my house. They're looking in my house. He said, they're looking for you. He said, Don Wells sent them here. And I said, damn, he just fired me. Yes, I said, this motherfucker's trying to get out of paying me, Dad.
Wow.
And they never told my dad why they were there. They didn't tell him that they were looking for Summer. They just said Don Wells sent them there. Don Wells knew where I lived at. He didn't have to send them to my dad's house. Okay, I'm a junior. My dad's a senior. He lives in Churchill, Tennessee, which is 20 minutes from Don. And I'm a junior, and he knows where I live. So he sent them to my dad's house deliberately. And my dad didn't know that Summer was missing. He just knew, he thought that I was in trouble for something. I told him Don was trying to get out of me on my money. Well, the next morning, my dad gave me his detective's number to call, and that's when I found out about Summer, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, this son bitch trying to set me up.
Arnold's really well. You know Jason and Chad, you've known him for 20 years. Can you tell us what you know then about when Jason Arnold went up and shot up Alan Ajon's property in Churchill on Goshen Road? Did you hear of that?
Hey,
Yeah, I heard about it.
There's an RJ in the back. I don't know if it's a RJ that's always in the chat. Is it your camera's on? Is that okay?
So then you're aware then Jason Arnold worked for Dudley Ajon's dad and uncle. Because see, everyone says there's no connection between Dudley Ajon and that family and the Arnolds, but there's a connection, right?
I couldn't say. I just know of the incident, but I don't know what it was over.
Okay.
I think it was over Jason's son. I'm not sure.
Well, the newspaper said that it was because Jason Arnold went up there to collect his paycheck. Travis Manis ends up at the house with Jason and Chad Arnold when they were young teenagers growing up. He grew up with them. And what makes this interesting is who Travis Manis is. Travis Manis is the father of Heather Lawson's kids, and that's Cindy Simpson's daughter.
Which is Roy Simpson's wife.
This is easy pickings. In other words, yeah, you can come here from out of some big city or whatever, high crime rate, but you can come out here and pick up kids. I seen a little girl the other day, about 2 months ago. She's about 5 years old, just standing on the street. I drove by her. I was just shaking my head like, what the freak, you know? And it was just driving me crazy. So when I come back out on the dead end, she's still standing there. I'm like, oh, hell no. So I pull in the driveway. I asked that little girl, I said, where is your parents? She says, Papa's in the house, blah, 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 whatever. So I go and I knock on the door, and he's like, what the fuck? I don't know what he's saying. I knock on the door again, and I just hear some mumbling. So I just opened the door, and I said, you know, this little girl's out here on the freaking road, standing out here, 5-year-old little girl. He's like, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't understand what he's saying. I'm like, man, whatever. And I slammed the door, and I went and got in my truck. I waved at the little girl. I said, see you later, you know. And I got in my truck, and I left. So the next thing I freaking hear is this fucking little girl's mother fucking gets on fucking YouTube or Facebook or whatever, says I tried to coerce that little girl into my truck. That's the thanks I get for trying to make sure that little girl was safe. The fucking little girl's fucking bitch mother fucking spread the word that I was trying to coerce that little girl into my truck or some bullshit.
And see what a coincidence is. Where Cotton is right here, where Cotton's vehicle was found right there, where his body was found right here. Right here's right under there's where on this next road the house sits right under this bank that Don tried to pick up that little girl. See what I'm trying to say? It's all right here in one little circle. See, when you go right here, get stopped, right here, this little road will turn left, and I'll show you right where the long top pick up that little girl at. We'll be in that curve, it's straight above that house. And they're all Simpsons.
Okay.
See, this is where Pete and him lived when Summer went missing as well.
Where?
Up this road. Pete Clark and him lived up this road. Pete and Brandon and all those.
Yeah, we need to look at your phone. Seeing if Jamie will get a hold of you too.
But they lived on Blackberry Lane off of this when Summer went missing, not on my home.
So.
See, everything connected right here. Everything's with Pete or Clark and all them. Pete and Clark would run around with Betty Joe with us together, you see. But see, right here's where Dawn tried to pick up that little girl at Boston. See, in this driveway right here. Right there. And see, we was just right up on top of the hill right there. And see, Cotton was found down this hall right here.
It starts with Jason Arnold, and then Mindy Arnold, and then Peggy Hundley, and then it ends up with Brenda Simpson, and then Martha Simpson, the mom, and then it ends up with Roy Simpson, and then it ends up with Crawford's.
Really?
It keeps this van. It moves through all of them, and I'm kind of
So
thinking
they all definitely know each other then.
they
if
all
they're
know each
sharing
other. When Ricky Crawford and Celesta and all of them got arrested, how the person that was arrested with them was Jimmy Wallen Jr. And the Jimmy Wallen Jr. is the son of James Wallen, who's the brother of Randy Wallen, Brenda Wallen's husband, the ones that live next door to Roy Simpson. Brenda Wallen is the house right next door to Roy's on Mountain View.
Wow. So that brings Crawford's. Yeah. That brings the Crawfords, and let's see. That brings them. That brings us all together. Like.
Yeah, it brings it all back together again. Well, the craziest thing. So I started pulling up asset records. So that Jimmy Wallen, who was arrested with Ricky Crawford and Celesta Crawford in that meth bust.
Yeah.
When his dad passed away, and when his dad passed away, he received a Nissan Xterra and a Toyota truck that belonged to his dad. So, people who said there's like no connection to Roy Simpson, there's a lot of connection to Roy Simpson on every end, with the Crawfords, with the Wallens, the arrest that was just made in that meth bus.
Everybody's a suspect! Fred Hill was arrested yesterday. So, custody status date as of June 13th, 4 p.m. Eastern. So, he was booked in at 4:41 p.m. Eastern, Hawkins County Jail. That's his mugshot.
Today marks 2 years since a little girl in Tennessee vanished from her rural home. Her name is Summer Wells. Sheriff declined an interview in the case. He did email us, though, saying he expects an update on the case in the near future.
He expects an update on the case in the near future.
Hey. Okay, cool.
They had me on suicide watch because of what I was telling you the other night.
Yeah, what happened?
They took and choked me out in a cell. They was trying to move some dope, get, I don't know, something that had moved out of the cell or something other, and about done me in.
It was over. They were trying to get what? To do some dope.
No, well, they were just taking and trying to move some stuff. Or something.
Oh. Dang.
So yeah.
Dang, what is that?
That's where they brought me back.
Wow, you actually died?
Yeah.
You lost consciousness?
Yes.
And your arrest has
ain't
nothing to do with Summer, does it?
No. My case ain't got nothing to do with something.
But it was just weird timing, you know, because it was like...
Well, see, they got to come up, when they start an investigation like that, in 2 years, they've got to close it and reopen. And where they closed her case, they reopened it again, it opened my case.
Oh, the Summer Wells case? It was closed and reopened, is that what you're saying?
I said, where they 2 years was up on Summer, they had to close it and reopen it.
Oh.
To get a new start, it started back new again.
Do they do that every 2 years or something?
Well, where they had dropped hers, and it made mine pop up, that's why they grabbed mine right off the shelf real quick. That's why mine come into play. But it ain't got nothing to do with the Summer Wells.
Right, I didn't think so. They did? Again? They gave you a lie detector test?
I think they may have found her.
You think they may have found her?
Because he wouldn't straight up answer me. When I asked him if she was in the cave.
In the cave? You think, is that where you were thinking she was?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying she was off like a cliff.
She is underwater.
So you think that they may have found her, really?
Because they wouldn't answer.
They want
They would just say that they found the cave.
They found the cave?
Yeah.
So, okay, once
But
again...
when I asked them,
Yeah?
they found the cave.
So when you asked if they found Summer, they want to answer you?
No.
They avoided the question?
Yes, so it that they did. They're wanting to give me
Oh, are you going to take it?
not yet.
Are you going to?
Yes, I know my club.
You said yes? Okay, awesome. So, okay, when did you find... when?
That's what makes me think of him.
That's what makes you think they found her?
Yes. To clear me from it.
Oh, to clear you? Wow. So can you tell me, when did you find out, or have you known this information for a long time and just kept it to yourself?
Well, no, I'm not.
Huh?
I've not known it that long.
You haven't known it that long?
No.
Okay.
This man just got out of jail not.
He just got out of jail?
Yeah, and he took something. And had told me
Before he passed away?
well, they found him dead in the cave.
So you've known since at least February then, right?
Yeah.
And real quick before we get cut off, what's going on? Anything you need me to tell anybody?
I just think lawyers are getting lawyers to send some money to you so you can move it to them accounts. They got all my stuff locked down, said I was under investigation over 2 murders.
What? You're under investigation over 2 murders?
That's what they're trying to say.
What the fuck?
I don't know what they're even talking about.
Brandon, the guy that's on the motorcycle that was in JLR's video, is Chad Arnold's stepson.
Brandon Clark. Before I seen the message, he later on texted me back and said, "Sorry, it was wrong one. It wasn't who I thought it was." And he's like, "Sorry, didn't mean to scare you, but."
Right. And who is Brandon?
He is it's Pete Clark's son. Not very important.
Does he come up on Ben Hill Road?
Actually, that's one that was bumped into the TBI crosshairs with Pete Clark over this case.
Just like Cotton, Pete's no longer living. And it said he was unalived in January of this year, but actually Brandon spoke about Pete often in his search with JRR.
Me and my dad tried to find from Fred to over here and David from over here, there to here, and I never found it. Me and my dad, we try to go from David to Fred, and we come out on this road, I think. This is just a private lane. I know this lane. I walked down this lane with my dad. We went from David's trying to go to my Uncle Trey's.
Yeah.
When we come out, see this from my dad and my Uncle Rick. Look, at any time, you just tell him who you are and that you talked to Brandon and that you want, he said, just check in and you pretty sure that, hey, no questions asked. If it's over the little girl, you guys can, anybody can look, anybody can, you know what I mean? Dude, I've looked. Even like them old houses, me and my dad get mad bodies.
What is that?
The church, bro.
Oh, people come here for church?
Yes, yes, sir.
Really?
Yeah, this is the church in the woods.
All the porta potties hidden in the woods from Uncle Archie. Said to be used as deer blinds. Lots of deer blinds all over, but ain't nobody hunting no deer over there, man. Couldn't know what all them deer blinds is for. Lookouts, binoculars, bulletproof vest, walkie-talkie. Yeah, we know.
Over here's Ben Hill Road. If you keep coming back to here, there's the old logging roads back through here, bro.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, like right here, there's a porta potty. Where's it at? They look in it, da da da. Ow, God bless it. Look, if I was going to do something, where is that porta potty at? Right there.
Oh, porta potty.
That's a structure right there. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Just no matter what, be careful. Watch your feet for snakes, dog.
Yeah.
I just shot one a few days ago. This is a porta potty. I hunted in it last year.
Why is that porta potty here?
Dude, her brothers worked for a place, and there's 3 of them on this property. They gave them to him, and he took them.
Who's he?
Archie.
Archie.
Yeah. This is like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
what were they building back here? Or they just put porta potties back here?
No, he got to take them home for free.
Oh.
So he used them as hunting blinds, and like over at our pond over there, there's one over there, and that's for you know, people, they camp and da da da.
Maybe there was a highly skilled nuclear worker in the woods named Pete. Pete also lived on the backside of the hollow on Bays Mountain. Cotton lived on the front side of the hollow. The Wildens lived in the middle. You remember the Wildens? They married in the Cotton side. And also the ones busted with Ricky Jr. recently, which is interesting. Because Ronnie Lawson said there would be movement in some of Wells' case last year. And all of a sudden, all at the same time, Brad Hill is busted, Ricky Hill is lady, Wildland, I was one of them wildings held that with Dudley Uncle, held them people hostage. Over some, you ain't paying me my money. Some 3 days worth of some drugs.
They follow you guys. Get in a vehicle and you follow him.
Yeah, to the top of Mountain View.
To the top of Mountain View.
That's where I turned around, was at the top of Mountain
You guys
View.
were in the same vehicle, you and Marvin?
Yeah.
So you guys follow him to see because you thought
Because he kept acting worried about getting robbed. For some reason. That's what we was more concerned about at the time, because he kept letting on like with all that money on him and stuff, he was worried about getting robbed. He was wanting to get back home.
So did he know you guys were following him?
No.
Just being nosy?
Yeah.
And then you followed him to that.
We went to top of the mountain there at Mountain View and turned from Mountain View on. I'm trying to think, what is that, Big Mountain or Mountain Trail or something that he pulled onto and back into the church.
Cotton Simpson.
And that's where his beak was found the next day and stuff.
Fred's friend, Chad Arnold, was present on Ben Hill Road the day someone went missing and saw Candace walking off Fred Hill's driveway. Suspicious. Absolutely. And Andy Paul. Absolutely. Andy Paul Morgan. A man Fred allegedly ran off after he was caught supplying drugs to a minor at Chad Arnold's house. Andy Paul had ties to Candace Block because he stayed on that property in a camper.
It was at Chad's house.
When was that? How long ago? See, Fred was under the impression it was an Andy Paul. Was there an Andy Paul there?
Yeah, Andy Paul was there.
Okay.
That's who I'm talking about, give her the stuff.
And is this Andy Paul the one that was renting the place off Dawn? That camper? Yeah. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Did he take off after that incident?
Fred run him off, told him if he didn't leave, then he was something bad's gonna happen.
Perhaps even the Clyde Trent, a name that keeps circling the case like a vulture. Caw. There's many associated with the last name Morgan. Clyde Trent wasn't just another player. She was the best friend of Don Wells' mother, Karen Gold. The likelihood that she was related to Ricky Trent? Highly. The likelihood that she knew more than she was saying? Even higher. It's a network of intertwining lies, overlapping criminal histories, and whispered accusations. Some of these people have been brushed against by the law, yet still the truth remains out of reach. Were any of them involved?
Y'all know Andy Paul or Andy Morgan?
Yes, I do.
I don't know.
Could Andy Morgan be the Green Eyes? And who stole that man's $10,000 fight ring?
His what?
His $10,000 champion, Dudley. We both from Louisiana. They fight them roosters over there like in our bloodline.
Yeah, cockfights. Yeah.
Yeah. This Green Eye said these people on Ben Hill stole his champion.
Yeah.
And you know what that means? Like
No.
that man, that's real. It might not have nothing to do with the case, but that's what Green Eyes is threatening. That somebody took a knife at him, stole his rooster.
Chad, known as a gravedigger at the cemetery directly across from the Wells property, was often seen creeping through the area at night. He was the type to never have had a cell phone and entirely disconnected from social media. He also had an uncanny ability to break wild horses, a brutal skill that only added to the local lore surrounding him.
Ron, do you know who a Chad Arnold is?
Yes, I do. Chad Arnold was at Fred Hill's house when Candace was looking for Summer. She drove back in the holler to Fred Hill's house, and Chad Arnold was hanging out back there. I've been to Chad Arnold's house before, And he had all kinds of people hanging out in his
Was he a
shed.
cracky?
Is he what?
Was he like a meth head like Fred Hill?
Yes. Chad Arnold loves his meth. Yes, he does. I went to visit him. Chad Arnold trains horses and stuff. He's really good at that. But he loves his methamphetamine.
You think Chad, Cotton, and Fred took Summer? Somebody just asked me that question.
I have no clue. But it's just like Dudley. That day, that weekend, I guess he went and done dope all weekend. He showed up Monday, and I guess I fired him Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember. I can't deal with that stuff.
Candace says she saw Chad Arnold up there at your driveway. Chad Arnold wasn't there when you guys were there?
No. Chad come in while we was gone.
Okay, do you know if anyone else showed up when you guys were gone?
Not that I know of.
So Chad Arnold did show up while you were gone. And when you guys got home, was Chad Arnold still there?
No.
So he had left. How did you know he was there then? Just what you heard from Candace, or did Fred talk to him?
He came the next day. He came in the next day.
Oh, and he said he had been up there?
Yeah, and that he seen Candace at the bottom of the driveway.
Okay. All right.
Most important is this dark blue pickup truck with tinted windows that you felt was very important in this tip. Do you know who's in the blue truck?
And how did Chad Arnold get up there when he would go up there? Did he drive? Did he walk? Did he?
He drove a Ford truck.
What color was his truck?
Blue.
So he drove a blue Ford truck. I noticed that at that time, Chad Arnold and Frances had been having relationship problems. Do you know where Chad was staying? Because he actually had a restraining order. He wasn't supposed to be staying over there with Frances.
He was living on the river. On his land.
So what land do you talk? His land? Which land is this?
In Churchill.
Okay, so over there off of California Avenue?
Yep.
Okay, so he wasn't staying there with his mom, Peggy, then. He was staying, like, on the river?
I don't know if he stays with his mom and he stays on the river, so I don't know.
Oh, that's right. He was staying on the river. That's right. Haskell Rhines took me to way out there in the mountains on a river, somebody's house on the river, like his uncle's or something. Wasn't he staying at somebody's house on the river? Yeah, it's way out there to try to, because I wanted to talk to him because I was trying to talk to Chad, but he didn't really want to talk.
So the Holston, the big river, Holston River that goes up there, the same one. That's the same one then that also runs there where Laurel Run Park is and all that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So now the other question is, I know you didn't know Roy Cotton Simpson well, but you did see him a few times. The same situation was happening with him. His wife also kicked him out. Then you're saying, Ziggy, that you actually also saw that he was out there on the river. So what direction, which river? You're talking about the...
I don't know what river it was because I just went where Haskell told me to turn, and that wasn't probably the smartest thing for me to do, to be in a car with Haskell alone, but I was, and it happened.
A new layer to Chad Arnold is added when Andy Bernard brings up Morrison Cemetery during a conversation back in February of 2025. It was an odd detail to mention, but notable. The location has long been speculated about by internet sleuths due to its proximity and visibility, but had never been officially acknowledged until that moment. This was a chilling detail, especially with Chad Arnold being the local gravedigger at that exact cemetery. The TBI came out and said they were following up on a recent tip and that they would never give up on finding Summer. Around this same period, Marlena Crawford, whose sister is in a relationship with Chad Arnold, another tie to Ricky Jr., suddenly appears on YouTube to address the rumors swirling around him. Her tone was strange. Some viewers felt she was defending Chad, others believed she was inadvertently throwing him under the bus. Chad's name, which had rarely been mentioned, was now front and center in one of the most scrutinized corners of missing persons investigations on the internet. Then came June 28th. Chad Arnold was arrested for a probation violation tied to a prior drug charge. Normally, someone in his situation would see a judge within a few days, possibly a week at most, accounting for weekends and docket schedules. Chad's hearing wasn't rescheduled once but twice. Chad has still not seen a judge and will not appear in court until July 21st. That's a 3-week delay with no explanation. During that exact window of silence, on July 3rd, the Wells family posted on social media thanking the TBI for asking to search over the road below our house. This statement caught immediate attention. Some believed they were referring to the driveway and mailbox area. But why would the TBI phrase it that way? Over the road. That specific language led many to believe they were referencing Morrison's cemetery, the same cemetery Andy had flagged months earlier, the same cemetery where Chad had worked as a part-time gravedigger. The implication was unsettling. From here, the theories surrounding Chad Arnold branch out in several directions. Perhaps he was just a witness, someone who saw Candace searching and nothing more. Maybe he saw Andy that day and could finally resolve the contradiction between Fred and Andy's versions of the timeline. It's also possible Chad heard something later on, something secondhand, and has kept it to himself out of fear or loyalty. Then there's the darker possibility that Chad, with access to graves and terrain few others understood, may have played a role in hiding something, knowingly or not. And yet, it is equally plausible that he is entirely innocent and simply afraid to speak, understanding how social media has dismantled reputations with nothing but speculation. So, who is Chad Arnold, really? Is he the missing piece? The one person who could pull a thread that unravels a case 4 years cold? Or is he a silent bystander, caught in the gravity of other people's lies? We may never know unless he decides to speak. But if there's one name left that could stitch together the fractured accounts of June 15, 2021, it might just be the one we've heard the least from, Chad Arnold.
So Anita Diver goes out there to go search this pond, and they come up to the end of the road, and here's this church. And then there's an old building there, which I know the man's name, but I'm not going to put it out there.
That was Glenda's, my stepmom's property. Her brothers worked for a place, and there's 3 of them on this property. They gave them to him, and he took them.
Who's he?
Archie, yeah.
Because we're wondering if he's the guy that gave Frank the alibi, because when Nita Diver got up there, Frank Light came out of that trailer that was sitting up behind the church, drunk, raising hell, telling them to all fuck off and get the fuck out of there. And Nita Diver called Cam and was like, hell, you didn't tell me fucking Frank Light was going to be up here. So what we're figuring is that guy that Frank was up there getting drunk with, right up the road from where Frank's supposed to be, if he was up there getting drunk with that guy, and that guy is the one that gave Frank the alibi for cleaning out a fence row behind this church where his trailer is. Because wouldn't that just be convenient for a drinking buddy to give you an alibi?
Summer Wells was just 5 years old when she vanished from her home in rural Hawkins County, Tennessee on June 15, 2021. Her family said she was last seen at home before she just disappeared. That was the story. But as investigators and true seekers began to dig deeper, they found themselves in a web of odd behavior, conflicting stories, and an overwhelming number of people connected to the case who were all somehow intertwined. To understand this case, you have to understand the people around it. Don Wells, Summer's father, is the most suspicious character of all in this case. He said he was at work the day she disappeared, but everyone around the Wells says he was at home. Candace Bly, Summer's mother, was the last known adult with her. Her friend Marlena was allegedly present the same day and is reported to have let her daughter stay multiple nights with Summer at her home just days before she went missing. Hunter, a teenage boy who was with them earlier that day, gave an unsettling interview recounting strange events. His mother, Allie, who is no longer living, another old friend of Candace's, said Hunter was never the same after he returned home from his trip with Candace and Summer that day. Then there's Jody Sue Brown, a neighbour who was on Ben Hill Road the day Summer disappeared, who seems to control and monitor a lot of the online activity. Andy Bernard, Jody's ex, made public statements pointing fingers and denying his presence on Ben Hill Road that day. Fred Hill, the daily voice on YouTube, with inside knowledge and bold accusations. These are just a few names among at least 20 who were close to the Wells family or to the scene, neighbours, friends, or people otherwise involved in Summer's life. These individuals aren't strangers. Many of them are neighbours. Many of them knew each other long before Summer vanished. The reality in the Summer Wells case is straightforward. Whatever happened to her, the individual responsible remains unidentified and at large. Alongside her disappearance, a series of deaths emerged, events that appear in multiple instances to intersect with the people, locations, and rumours circulating in the case. It begins when Summer was reported missing from Ben Hill Road. The Ben Hill Hollow was shut down, but the hollow doesn't stop for no one. The next morning, Pumpkin Taylor was found deceased in a neighbouring town. Pumpkin was the cousin of Ricky Jr. and Marlena. Local accounts suggest a personal entanglement. The mother of Pumpkin's children had reportedly been involved with both cousins, later settling with Ricky Jr. At that time, Ricky Jr. was said to be living at the far end of Light Hollow's Dead End Road, adjacent to Ben Hill, an area familiar to many but seldom connected to the larger picture. Until now. Light Hollow is the next hollow over from Ben Hill, and as you will come to learn shortly, is very important to the Summer Wells case. Here recently, Marlena publicly responded to statements made by Andy B., who had alleged that Summer was buried in Morrison Cemetery. Marlena countered with her own claims that Andy knew more than he had revealed, and that Chad Arnold, her sister's husband and a gravedigger at that same cemetery, was directly connected to events surrounding Summer's disappearance.
How did he know that that person or whoever was at the graveyard and, that truck and all that? They were all together as a clan.
Exactly.
Him and Fred Hill and Cotton and Chad Arnold, and all of them was together on the same exact fucking day. Now come on, don't sit here and tell me that Andy doesn't know something. Andy knows something. So does his wife. So does Candace. So does Dawn. So does Chad. So does Cotton did. That's why Cotton lost his wife.
Chad is the man who, at the same time Summer went missing, arrived at Fred's property on Ben Hill and saw Candace walking down Fred's driveway. Fred was not home, and according to accounts, this was the only recorded time Candace visited his property. Shortly after, she was seen heading toward the back of Light Hollow in the search for Summer, which is ironically located directly behind Fred's place.
You can cross this mountain right here, and you can be in, unfortunately, Fred Hill's backyard.
Fred Hill's backyard.
Yeah. Hey, and he's like, when the cops come, I tried to tell him, I said, dude, I know, because I ginseng, I hunt.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I know spots, like, hey. And I showed them, they didn't even know where that holler was by that pond there.
Who didn't? The authorities?
The authorities, no, there's another.
Did they search back here?
Yeah. Yeah, they searched. It's been after the search was down there. Yep.
How long ago was that?
That's been 6 months.
So where they all drove here and then just parked and then looked?
Yeah, they searched 2 different times. One time they parked down here, and the other time they walked in.
The weeks that followed Summer's disappearance only deepened the shadows. Don Wells would be accused of trying to lure a girl into his truck at Bays Mountain, a girl who happened to be the granddaughter of Roy Lynn Cotton Simpson.
So the next thing I freaking hear is this fucking little girl's mother fucking gets on fucking YouTube or Facebook or whatever, says I tried to coerce that little girl into my truck. That's the thanks I get for trying to make sure that little girl was safe. The fucking little girl's fucking bitch mother fucking spread the word that I was trying to coerce that little girl into my truck or some bullshit.
And say what a coincidence is where Cotton lives right here, where Cotton's vehicle was found right there, where his body was found right here. Right here's right under there's where on this next road, the house sits right under this bank that Don tried to pick up that little girl. See what I'm trying to say? It's all right here in one little circle.
Cotton's name would come to carry its own gravity in this story. He and a relative, Marvin, were both seen drifting in and out of Ben Hill on the day Summer disappeared. More than a year later, Cotton would be found dead at the back edge of his property. Bays Mountain terrain he knew better than most, threaded with caves, waterfalls, and drops steep enough to swallow the truth whole. Cotton wasn't always this way, we are told. He was once a well-rounded man, once a park employee and avid outdoorsman. He even worked as a janitor at a local school. Later in life, he slid into meth production, violence, and a paranoia that even his own family couldn't navigate. Diagnosed as clinically insane, scarred by traumatic brain injuries, he cycled through state hospitals and jail cells, protective orders from his own sister, Brenda Wallen, just 5 days before he died. That order was dismissed the very day his body was found. No autopsy was made public, no press statement from authorities, only a quiet obituary. In the aftermath, the arrests began to fall like dominoes. Weeks later, Ricky Jr., Punkin's ex and Cotton's brother-in-law, was picked up on gun and drug charges. That same day, Dudley Ajan, Don's former co-worker and someone he had just gotten into it with the day before Summer went missing, was also arrested on near-identical charges. Not long after, Fred Hill himself was hit with drug charges and given a polygraph exam. He insisted it wasn't about Summer, but about Cotton's death, and about something Cotton told him before the end.
Fred Hill was arrested yesterday. So custody status day as of June 13th, 4 p.m. Eastern. So he was booked in at 4:41 p.m. Eastern, Hawkins County Jail. That's his mugshot.
Today marks 2 years since a little girl in Tennessee vanished from her rural home. Her name is Summer Wells. Sheriff declined an interview in the case. He did email us, though, saying he expects an update on the case in the near future.
He expects an update on the case in the near future.
Hey. Okay, cool.
They had me on suicide watch because of what I was telling you the other night.
Yeah, what happened?
They took and choked me out in a cell. They was trying to move some dope, get, I don't know, something that had moved out of the cell or something other, and about done me in.
I think they may have found her.
You think they may have found her?
Because he wouldn't straight up answer me. When I asked him if she was in the cave.
In the cave? You think, is that where you were thinking she was?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying she was off like a cliff.
She is underwater.
So you think that they may have found her, really?
Because they wouldn't answer.
They would
just say that they found the cave.
They found the cave?
Yeah.
So, okay, once again...
When I asked her,
yeah?
they found the cave.
So when you asked if they found Summer, they wouldn't answer you?
No.
They avoided the question?
Yes, so it's like that they did. They're wanting to give me
Oh, are you going to take it?
not yet.
Are you going to?
Yes, I know my club.
You said yes? Okay, awesome. So, okay, when did you find... when?
That's what makes me think of him.
That's what makes you think they found her?
Yes. Clear me from it.
Oh, to clear you? Wow. So can you tell me, when did you find out, or have you known this information for a long time and just kept it to yourself?
Well, no, I'm not.
Huh?
I've not known him that long.
You haven't known it that long?
No.
Okay.
This man just got out of jail not.
He just got out of jail?
Yeah, and he took something and had told me
Before he passed away?
well, they found him dead in the cave.
So you've known since at least February then, right?
Yeah.
Nobody has posted the lie detector results.
Not the final reading.
No, they haven't
That
been.
was just a pre-test or pre.
That was before the reading was even done. That's why it said no opinion. There was nothing about any type of deception anywhere.
Because that day she said she was wanting my address and stuff to send that copy that she done that day, but she done told me what it would say. She said, but
It's going to say suspect because they're going to look. That's just what it says on the form. Like,
said I'd have to send
my guess.
$40
I don't know.
and request it to the
I'd have to see it.
He got all my stuff locked down, said I was under investigation over 2 murders.
What?
Bullshit.
You're under investigation under 2 murders?
That's what they're trying to say.
What the
I
fuck?
don't know what they're even talking about.
They follow you guys. Get in a vehicle and you follow him
Yeah, to the top of Mountain View.
to the top of Mountain View.
That's where I turned around, was at the top of
And
Mountain
you guys
View.
were in the same vehicle, you and Marvin.
Yeah.
So you guys follow him to see because you thought
Because he kept acting worried about getting robbed. For some reason. That's what we was more concerned about at the time, because he kept letting on like with all that money on him and stuff, he was worried about getting robbed. He was wanting to get back home.
So did he know you guys were following him?
No.
Just being nosy?
Yeah.
And then you followed him to that.
We went to top of the mountain there at Mountain View and turned from Mountain View on. I'm trying to think, what is that, Big Mountain or Mountain Trail or something that he pulled onto and back into the church.
Cotton Simpson.
And that's where his vehicle was found the next day and stuff.
Cotton, he claimed, said Summer was underwater, in a cave, behind a waterfall. Search teams combed similar terrain, but nothing conclusive ever surfaced. The network of names around Cotton's death was tight and volatile.
It starts with Jason Arnold, and then Mindy Arnold, and then Peggy Hundley, and then it ends up with Brenda Simpson, and then Martha Simpson, the mom, and then it ends up with Roy Simpson, and then it ends up with Crawford's.
Really?
Yeah, it keeps this van. It moves through all of them, and I'm kind of
So
thinking
they're all definitely know each other then.
They all
They're
know each
sharing
other.
Back in the day, Chad Arnold's brother, Jason Arnold, was infamous for armed abductions tied to drug debts and had targeted people connected to George Simpson and Dudley's uncle. Jason himself would become another unexplained death. Pete Clark, living near both the Wallens and Cotton on Bays Mountain, once questioned in Summers' case, now gone. Another name on the list of sudden deaths.
This is where Pete lived when Summer went missing as well.
Where?
At this road. Pete Clark lived up this road. Pete ran and all that.
Yep.
Everything connected right here. Everything's with Pete or Clark. Pete Clark would run around and get each other.
Pete also lived at the back of Light Hollow with his partner, Glenda, Cotton Simpson's ex-wife and now Brandon's stepmom. Glenda and her brother live at the dead end of Light Hollow, and their dad built the church in the back of the woods. It was said that Glenda and Pete had become obsessed with the Summer Wells case, even bringing Pete, who was questioned by TBI, often to tears when speaking about it.
Right over here is the pond, and right across this is where they live, dude.
Oh, they live right over there.
Yeah, like this. You know what I mean?
Hi.
It's
Look.
a different house. I don't remember you from YouTube.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm looking for Summer.
Yes.
Looking for Summer. Looking like I just came down this road because I saw it like a mile away from their road.
Yeah, yeah. And you can cross this mountain right here, and you can be in, unfortunately, Fred Hill's backyard.
Fred Hill's backyard.
Yeah, my stepmom. Yeah.
Stepmom. Yeah, she said she saw me on YouTube.
Yeah, even my mom, even me. Like, you know what I mean? That one cried. I wasn't living right here, but I come and visit my stepmom.
What was she saying about it? Like,
blowing away all of us, really.
you know how many people care for Summer out there?
Dude, hey, look, my mom is obsessed with watching this shit on YouTube and everything, and it makes me cry.
And you guys are local.
Yes, hey, nobody comes and talks to us, dude. They don't even know about these whole.
Dude, that's exactly what I said at the beginning because I was filming down this road. What's this road called? Light Holler. And I was like, I haven't heard anyone search Light Holler.
Glenda and the back of Light Hollow was tied to almost every death surrounding the Summer Wells case. Glenda was tied to so many players in the Summer Wells case. She was even rumoured to be connected to Alison, Candace's ex-best friend and Hunter's mother, who also suddenly passed away. Glenda is also rumoured to be working with certain YouTube creators offering information or narrative. It was Pete's son, Brandon, who took YouTuber JLR through the property, pointing out the lay of the land, naming most of these names.
I still look for it. Every time I'm out here, dude, I look for anything.
So what are you looking for? Like clothing?
Anything, yeah. I found a blanket right here, and I showed them the investigation. I left it there. So, dude, I had, me and my girlfriend, we ginseng hunt. And I had a little spot on the back. My cousin and I took mine. Him and his buddy and me are the only ones that come back here. You see what I'm saying? And there's another guy that patrols this.
Why is that porta potty here?
Dude, her brother worked for a place, and there's 3 of them on this property. They gave them to him, and he took them.
Who's he?
Archie.
Archie.
Yeah. I know Chad Arnold and Billy. I know Bill. We call him Wild Bill.
Fred Hill.
I've known him since I moved down here. Acquaintance. I don't talk to him that much anymore. You know what I mean? We had a little bit of falling out on some trading shit. But I know this. He ain't child molester. He ain't kids.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Look, he might be back in the sticks, secluded, and come up with his own wild theories, like everybody's titled to. But nah, he didn't do nothing with no baby. And if you listen to him, he probably's onto something. You know what I mean? He knows these woods.
See, this is their property, I think.
Yeah, this is that creek. You know what I mean? Like I said.
And that's the Menards.
Yeah, yeah. See, I ain't gonna say about that either, but there's certain people, there's normal people, there's law enforcement, you know what I mean? Some of these people are very, hey, you know, they might have a hot plan or make a little liquor or something, and so we ain't on the same teams, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when it comes to this little girl, I don't give dude.
In the recent arrest of Chad Arnold and Ricky Jr., one has to speculate, are they now being questioned? Chad Arnold's court date keeps getting delayed, oddly, and Ricky Jr. was picked up on a case that lists the offence date as just weeks after Summer went missing. It has been reopened. Something we have heard before.
And your arrest has nothing to do with Summer, does it?
No. My case ain't got nothing to do with Summer.
But it was just weird timing, you know, because it was like...
Well, see, they got to come up when they start an investigation like that. In 2 years, they've got to close it and reopen. And where they closed her case, they reopened it again, it opened my case.
Oh, the Summer Wells case? It was closed and reopened, is that what you're saying?
I said where they 2 years was up on Summer, they had to close it and reopen it.
Oh.
And get a new start, it started back new again.
Do they do that every 2 years or something?
Well, where they dropped hers, and it made mine pop up, that's why they grabbed mine right off the shelf real quick.
Now that the smoke is settling, we can see past the things that may be more irrelevant than once believed. The law doesn't seem interested in Fred nor Andy.
Unless concrete leads come up that we can sort of verify the direction it's headed, We're just accepting concrete leads, and your name has not come up.
Okay. Well,
That, and I wouldn't put too much faith in what Fred Hill is saying.
Andy Bernard was on that road that day, and nobody's questioning him. And he says he was at work all day.
Both us, TBI, and FBI have questioned him several times concerning that. Yes, he was on the road probably.
Fred Hill. Been talking to the TBI. I kind of get the feeling that when it comes to the Summer Wells case, they're just not interested in Fred. I got a feeling that they're interested in someone else. You know, they're not interested in Fred.
Two individuals who have been in the spotlight of this case for its entirety. They are now both willing to take a polygraph exam in regards to the disappearance of Summer Wells.
Yeah, I'd be more than glad to take one on someone.
You really would? So, because they would let us, so I looked it up for like, it's like around $1,500. We would get 3 questions. Obviously, your wife gets one of the questions. No. Will you do it?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to make it happen, y'all. You heard it here.
Yeah, spread this around, and all the haters that are saying he'd never do it.
You know what?
They can pay for it.
Yeah, I will. There's Andy. Same deal goes out to you, Andy. I will make that happen.
An agreement almost too good to be true. So what do you make of all the recent connections? Should we go deeper?
Brenda, okay, so Brenda is my dad's sister, or was my dad's. I don't know if she passed away or not. In Warsaw, Indiana, next to Ziggy or near her. Oh, God. Fuck. She lives next to Ziggy. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Join us next week on As the Holler Turns.
Clock in. Okay.
Scooby fucking Doo. If not for those pesky meddling kids.
Back to what I do. Catfish, Billy, baby, hello, how are you? You're my 9, rappers like a power line, fell into a swimming pool. I think I got the whole crew. Ooh, let me know what y'all wanna do. I bought a 30 pack of Creek water, baby, boo. 99, out of 99.99, not mine, I got 100 proof.
They're gonna be sorry they were ever born. Who? All of them.
The red sun rose this morning. Dark skies pronounce your warning. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Hold on, the floor is caving. Your walls turn into cages. Your refuge will be your demise. Dances with the devil. Your power isn't special. We don't fit on your canvas. We burn it all to ashes now. 'Cause we are the outlaws.
Yeah, you've been
devil. Be careful who you gunning for, cause when it settles, it's only pain and grief when you living lawless. We only chase it if the chance of profit's flawless. We keep our eyes on the weak, they know that they targets. Hunting for goodwill, we ain't looking for bargains. And you should say a prayer, ain't nobody praying for you. Cause if I want it, then it's mine, that's what I'm saying to you. If you faint hearted, you better leave. You try and cross me, then you dead to me. Cause I'm in the business of making enemies. And there's a good chance that you may never leave. You feeling comfortable, you should never be.